Heartbreaking loss. Josie Duggar passes away after lone battle with cancer. Duggar family. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. The Duggar family, long in the public eye for their large brood and close-knit Christian values, has experienced a devastating loss that has rocked their world. Josie Duggar, the youngest of the Duggar children, passed away after a courageous battle with cancer, leaving behind a grieving family and a shattered community of fans who had watched her grow up on the family's reality TV show. This is the tragic story of Josie's fight, her strength, and the heartbreaking reality of her passing. A loving childhood amid challenges, Josie Duggar was born to Michelle and Jim Bob Duggar, the 19th child in a family of 21 children. She arrived prematurely, born at just 25 weeks, which made her an immediate source of concern for her parents. Doctors had warned the Duggars that Josie's survival was uncertain, but Michelle and Jim Bob, buoyed by their deep faith, remained hopeful. The early years of Josie's life were marked by numerous medical challenges, but she fought through every obstacle with a tenacity and determination that would become characteristic of her later life. Growing up in the spotlight of the Duggar family's reality TV show, 19 Kids and Counting, Josie was often the focal point of both concern and admiration. Her small, fragile form captivated viewers as they watched her grow and develop over the years, defying odds. Throughout her childhood, she was a symbol of hope and resilience, her story reminding everyone that even the most fragile of lives could blossom with the right support and care. Her family was always by her side, supporting her every step of the way. Despite her early medical struggles, Josie was a joyful and loving child, eager to experience life and share it with her many siblings. She had an infectious smile that lit up any room and a heart full of love, which made her a beloved figure not only within the Duggar family, but also among the millions of people who followed their journey. The beginning of the battle, as Josie entered her teenage years, her life seemed to settle into a peaceful routine. She continued to live with her family in their Arkansas home, where the Duggars raised their children with strict Christian principles, prioritizing modesty, family, and faith above all else. However, as she grew older, Josie began experiencing strange symptoms that no one could quite explain. At first, the signs were subtle: a persistent fatigue that didn't go away, aches and pains that seemed out of place, and occasional dizziness. Josie, being the strong and determined young woman that she was, brushed them off, attributing it to the stresses of her busy life. But as time went on, her health began to decline, and her family became increasingly concerned. It wasn't until Josie went for a routine checkup that doctors discovered the devastating truth: she had cancer. The diagnosis was a blow to the entire Duggar family, as they had never anticipated such a tragedy striking their youngest child. The type of cancer was aggressive, and doctors immediately began discussing treatment options. Despite the overwhelming nature of the diagnosis, Josie remained remarkably calm, finding strength in her faith and the unwavering support of her family. Her battle began with chemotherapy, a grueling regimen that would leave her weak and fatigued. The treatments took their toll, but Josie fought through them, determined to live and to keep her spirits up. She shared her journey with the public, allowing fans to witness her struggle and triumphs. Many were inspired by her courage, as she continually remained positive, refusing to let the disease define her, the community rallying behind her. As news of Josie's diagnosis spread, fans and well-wishers from all over the world came together to offer their prayers and support. The Duggar family's followers, who had watched Josie grow from a fragile newborn to a young woman with unbreakable faith, rallied behind her in a show of love and solidarity. The Duggars, always known for their strong sense of community, were overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from their fans. The family kept Josie's health updates private for a while, but they couldn't help but share her story with the world. As Josie entered the final stages of her treatment, she began to feel the weight of the toll it was taking on her body. Her chemotherapy treatments were no longer as effective, and the cancer continued to spread, leaving the family with little hope. Though they never gave up, it became clear to the Duggar family that Josie's time on this earth was running out. They spent every moment by her side, holding her hand through the pain and praying for her recovery. But no amount of prayers could stop the inevitable. The final days of her life, Josie was surrounded by family, friends, and loved ones who came to say their goodbyes. The Duggar home became a place of reflection, prayer, and love. Josie's siblings gathered around her, offering comfort and sharing memories. Josie, ever the source of strength, comforted her family, telling them to remember the good times, the love they had shared, and the faith they all held dear. She spent her final moments in peace, knowing she was loved by so many and that she had touched the lives of countless people with her story of survival and resilience. As the Duggar family held each other, they knew that Josie's battle had been a long and difficult one, but that she had fought with all her might. Her passing left a hole in their hearts that would never fully heal, but they took solace in the knowledge that Josie was now free from pain, in the arms of her heavenly Father. The impact of Josie's legacy. Josie Duggar's passing has left a profound impact on her family, fans, and the world. She was more than just a TV personality. She was a symbol of strength, perseverance, and the power of faith. Her story of survival, even in the face of such a daunting diagnosis, will continue to inspire others long after her passing. Her family has expressed their grief publicly, with Michelle and Jim Bob sharing heartfelt tributes to their daughter. They have also expressed gratitude for the time they had with Josie and the lessons she taught them all about resilience, love, and faith. The Duggars have vowed to continue Josie's legacy, remembering her as a shining example of courage in the face of adversity. For the fans who had followed Josie's journey from her early days on television, her passing feels like the loss of a family member. Many will continue to remember her in the same way they remember her siblings, with love and admiration. Moving forward, though Josie is no longer with us, her memory lives on in the hearts of her family, her fans, and those whose lives she touched. The Duggar family, though deeply saddened, is determined to honor her life by continuing to spread the love, faith, and kindness that Josie embodied. In the months to come, the Duggars will undoubtedly continue to grieve the loss of their beloved daughter and sister, but they will also carry forward her legacy of hope and resilience. Josie Duggar's fight against cancer, though tragically cut short, will never be forgotten. She will always be remembered as a bright light in the world, and her family will hold her memory close to their hearts forever. Amy Duggar reveals she was protected from abusive grandfather Jimmy Lee Duggar. As Amy Duggar prepares for the release of her upcoming memoir, Holy Disruptor, she's opening up about parts of her upbringing in a famous family that she's never spoken about until now. In a new interview with People, Amy revealed that her grandfather, Uncle Jim Bob Duggar's father, was abusive, and as a child, measures were taken to ensure that she would never be alone with him. Amy didn't know the truth about her grandfather until after he died. Amy said that she and her mom, Deanna, Jim Bob's sister, didn't talk about grandfather Jimmy Lee Duggar's past abuse until after he died in 2009, but I obviously assumed. I always had assumptions as to why, but it was never spoken about, she said. It was a little difficult, but I'm one of those people that when I was little, I asked questions, sure. But if something was told to me, I just believed it. The adults in her life were careful to protect her around him. Though Amy still spent time with her grandparents and was especially close to grandmother Mary Duggar while she was still alive, everyone in her family took extra care to make sure that she and her grandfather were never alone together, and her grandmother would make sure that the door to her bedroom was always locked at night. I knew Grandpa couldn't go to the trampoline with me. I knew Grandpa couldn't sit and watch a movie with me. I knew Grandpa couldn't be in a car with me. I knew Grandpa couldn't take me to school, she said. There were so many things, and I just knew that that's how it was done. He was occasionally seen in early episodes of 19 Kids and Counting. Since Jimmy Lee, who was known as Jail, died just a year into filming of the family's TLC reality show, he didn't appear very often, but toward the end of his life, he appeared to be living at Jim Bob and Michelle's house with his wife, Mary, as he suffered from cancer. Knowing the truth about her grandfather changes so much for Amy. My mom and I sat there and cried, and I just held her, and she held me, Amy told People. It was like this insane bonding moment that we've been needing for our entire life, that we finally were allowed to just be really vulnerable with each other and share. Growing up in the Duggar family has affected the way Amy raises her own son. Amy also told people that witnessing her cousin's upbringing has impacted the way she's raising her own son Dax, who she shares with husband Dylan King. "I saw my cousins all being homeschooled, and it was rigorous. It was scheduled, it was blocked time. It was very much like that way," Amy said. "And I thought, how can I do things differently? I would love to spend more time with Dax. Obviously, he can go to school if he wants. But if he wants to stay home and do homeschool with me, how can I make it different?" She added, "I saw how kids were spoken to, I saw how kids were treated, I saw all of that, and I'm like, hey, let's do things differently. And so I'm just taking the good parts that I remember and adding to it." Dylan King and Amy Duggar, a love story with unexpected twists. The wedding of Dylan King and Amy Duggar was nothing short of a celebration, but like many Duggar family stories, it was not without its fair share of surprises and unexpected turns. From the moment Amy Duggar announced her engagement to Dylan King, fans were eagerly awaiting the day they would become husband and wife. Their love story had a fairy tale beginning, but as with any high-profile couple, the public scrutiny and drama surrounding their union made for an unforgettable event. Amy Duggar, a niece of Jim Bob Duggar, has always been in the spotlight thanks to her connections to the infamous Duggar family. Known for their reality TV fame, particularly on 19 Kids and Counting On, the Duggars have often been in the media for their conservative values and family dynamics. Amy, however, carved out her own path by stepping away from the family's strict beliefs and gaining independence in her career and lifestyle. She was seen as the rebel of the family, and her fans admired her for embracing a more modern and independent approach to life. Dylan King, on the other hand, had a more private life, though his relationship with Amy brought him into the limelight. The two met at a concert in 2015, and after dating for a while, Dylan proposed to Amy in a romantic, yet public, setting. Their engagement was widely covered, and it wasn't long before the couple set a date for their wedding, which would be another highly anticipated Duggar family event, the wedding day. The wedding took place in a picturesque venue, one that was far removed from the traditional Duggar-style ceremonies that often take place in a church. Amy and Dylan's venue was elegant, yet still embraced their down-to-earth and personal style. Amy wore a stunning wedding gown, and Dylan was looking sharp in a tailored suit. But what stood out to many was the fact that Amy's bridal style was a departure from the modesty typically seen in Duggar weddings. Her dress was slightly more contemporary, with a fitted silhouette, a touch of lace, and a deep V neckline that garnered both praise and criticism from Duggar fans. One of the most talked about moments of the wedding was the arrival of Amy's Duggar family members. While Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, the patriarch and matriarch of the Duggar clan, were present, there was noticeable tension between them and Amy. The couple had previously expressed how their differing values and lifestyle choices created a rift in the family, and this was reflected at the wedding. Jim Bob and Michelle, who adhere to strict religious beliefs, seemed uncomfortable with the more liberal and modern vibe of Amy's celebration. This tension was most evident during the speeches. While Dylan's family showered them with heartfelt words, some of Amy's family members seemed to take subtle jabs at the couple's choices. A particular moment stood out when one family member gave a speech that felt more like an attempt to correct Amy's life decisions rather than offer well wishes for her future. The drama unfolds. The tension didn't stop there. Just days before the wedding, rumors surfaced that a major fallout had occurred between Amy and her aunt, Jill Duggar Dillard. The rumors suggested that Jill, known for her more liberal stance within the family, had issues with Amy's choice of lifestyle, particularly her decision to embrace more modern values. Amy had been very vocal about her desire to break away from the constraints of her family's religious beliefs, and this had caused a rift with some family members, including Jill. The tension only added to the drama surrounding the wedding. At the reception, things took an even more unexpected turn. Amy had invited several of her closest friends, but one guest, who had a complicated history with the Duggar family, stirred up some controversy. The guest's comments about the Duggar family's strict rules and beliefs quickly became a topic of discussion, causing some uncomfortable moments at the event. It was clear that Amy's wedding was more than just a celebration of love. It was a statement about her desire to live life on her own terms, a future full of possibilities. Despite the drama that unfolded, Dylan and Amy seemed blissfully happy in the days following their wedding. The couple shared intimate moments on social media, showing off their wedding photos and their excitement about the future. They also announced that they would be moving to a new city, where Amy would continue her